Hello and welcome to the final episode of Oversteer and Overshare podcast for the year. We're sorry we've been away. It's been a very busy time. We'll talk about it in a second of what was busy and why it was busy. But we've got some very exciting stuff for this episode. So this is going to be a recap of our Vegas trip to the Vegas Grand Prix. We're wearing all our merch we bought there right now. Not intentionally, but it did happen. And then the end of the season, the championship, what we're expecting next year. And then we have a very special surprise with a interview later with a real world champion driver. Honest to God, world champion driver. I'll put the timestamp in it when I edit this. So if you want to just jump to that, you can. But that'll be after all of our normal stuff. So we'll do about 30 minutes of talking and normal stuff, and 30 minutes of interview with that world champion driver. Super excited to see it. How are you doing, wife?
Good. And I was gonna say, to be completely honest, you're probably gonna forget to edit in a timestamp later, so everyone should just anticipate like 30 minutes of this bullshit and then 30 minutes of an interview.
Of what you want to see. Can I have my water?
Yeah. Yeah. How have I been? Pretty good. I mean, it's all right.
We had so the reason we haven't done the podcast, we had a very busy few weeks. So we had the Vegas race, that was one.
Yeah.
And that was a weekend. And then I got sick in Vegas with a respiratory virus, and that I'm still kind of dealing with that. And that was like 4 or 5 weeks ago.
And then you donated bone marrow too, so you
stem cells.
Yep, whatever.
Yeah,
it's all the
very
same.
different.
It's all the same.
One comes out of your bones, and the other comes out of your veins.
Okay, so you did that. Yep.
Yeah, so donated stem cells, which was I'll probably talk about that for a little bit. That was a pretty cool experience. But yeah, so that's why we haven't recorded in a while.
Yeah, the holidays, and it's just crazy end of the year.
Yeah.
We both have work and personal lives is the other thing. We don't just sit and film for 12 people.
Yeah. 12 people is probably generous, honestly.
I was just going to say across all platforms.
Yeah,
12.
I mean, maybe.
Total, maybe.
But yeah, so this is the last one for the year. We do plan to kind of hit it hard next year and do it all next year. And I really want to grow our long form content and get clips out and stuff. And we've had some clips do well with the podcast stuff. But yeah, so I guess first and foremost, how was Vegas?
Okay, Las Vegas Grand Prix. I talked about this a little bit on your stream, but I don't think we definitely haven't done the podcast, but overall we did Vegas. I hate Vegas, like first and foremost.
The city of Las Vegas.
The city of Las Vegas, yes. We got married there, for anyone that
That's
doesn't know.
That's not why she hates it.
Horrible, traumatic memories.
We got married at the courthouse, and he gave the wrong... he called her the wrong name.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, I hate Las Vegas, just as a city in general. The Vegas Grand Prix was kind of like last minute planning for us. I would like to do an international trip, whatever, doesn't matter. We did Vegas, and the Vegas race was, surprisingly really great.
I really enjoyed, and it sucks because it's the most expensive one.
Yeah.
I really wanted to be able to come back and complain about
Not
capitalism
worth it,
and
yeah.
shit. It was my favorite of the three we've been together. So we've been to Coda, we've been to Suzuka, and now we've been to Vegas. And as far as the fan experience goes, it was by far the best, in my opinion.
I do wonder if that's how street races in general are, or if that is specific to Vegas and American capitalism.
Because you just walk over there and you're in.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I don't know if you were, because Singapore is the other, like, iconic night street race. But, like, so Singapore, would they have...
Jeddah.
Sure, but whatever. Would they have a pop-up at every single hotel? Would they have, like, the race car, like, everywhere?
Fuck those pop-ups. We should talk about the pop-ups.
The fan activations. Like, Vegas really comes through for the off-track fan experience as well, that I wonder if could be attributed just to American capitalism, or if that's, like, just a city thing. Because that's another thing that I think really sets Vegas apart, is that you can have this like off-track experience that's equally as amazing, and you can have a week full of F1 stuff without being at the race if you didn't want to pay for tickets.
Yeah, so Vegas, if you've never been to Vegas, it's all kind of connected. Like, all the casinos are kind of connected in a way, so you can go
which is on purpose.
Yeah, you can go to one casino and you can walk for miles and miles, like through indoors and through shopping and they feed you through stuff to spend money. But there was all these pop-ups. And we kept trying to go to them, but it would be like a broom closet of a pop-up, and there would be a ton of people in line, and they were selling like 3 things, and it was like, well, this isn't worth it. Like,
this is a very different. This is like a very different thing between him and I. Like, I do think the pop-ups would be fun to do. He's not like a let's wait in line, let's like shop, whatever. Like, that's just not his thing. I like F1 merch. I buy a fuck ton of F1 merch.
We should probably clarify. The pop-ups are more like driver merch that's not team kit.
Yeah.
And I don't care. I only
They do
want team
have a
kit.
lot of F1 stores, though. Like,
Yeah.
there were a lot of F1 stores
There was
selling
a ton of
merch.
team kit stuff. They didn't bring any Alpine team kit at all.
We
So
went to the F1 hub,
yeah,
which was like the only real big F1 like store we shopped at, which we waited in line, I don't know, like 45 minutes, an hour to get in.
part of that was before it opened though.
Yeah, it
Like,
moved
wasn't
really
crazy.
quickly
Yeah.
though. It was very well organized. Like, I'll give Vegas that.
Well, it's so one. I was talking to the suppliers. So normally, like when you go to a race, you go to the track, and there's all the team kit stands, and they're all the same. Everyone sells the same shit. Well, I was talking to them, and apparently it's one like supplier that brings all the team kit for all of the stuff, not just on track, but also like where we went to that pop up and where we went to the hub, and like all of the team kit you see across Vegas is by one supplier.
I wonder if that's because of tariffs. Like, if they have one supplier only, like, you can then
I bet
wholesale buy it out.
No, I bet it's just the official F1 merch
Oh.
partner. But they didn't bring a single piece of Alpine merch. They had every other team, and they had Cadillac stuff. It was starting to come out also, but it wasn't super cool because it didn't have any like sponsors. Like you see on my hat, it's got like the MasterCard, and like they didn't have any of that. So the Cadillac stuff was just like a plain black hat with a gray Cadillac logo kind of thing.
Which, like, very generic Cadillac, not even like Cadillac.
Yeah, I don't even
F1
think
racing.
it may have said Cadillac F1. I don't remember. But yeah, no, they didn't bring. So I was only missing of all. I have a team hat for everybody except Alpine and Sauber, Kick Sauber, Audi next year. And I wanted to get Alpine stuff because Sauber's turning into Audi, excuse me. And Alpine also is in WEC. So I was like, they didn't bring a single piece of Alpine merch to the whole city of Las Vegas.
Do you like really want Alpine merch? Like,
I want all 11 teams next year, but yeah, I want all 10 teams. But the other reason, it wasn't just merch that it was great. It was great because it's a street race in Vegas, so we could just walk from our hotel. It was like a 3-minute walk.
This is good planning on wife's part. This is not the convenience of the track.
That's also
because it's broken up by zone. So our friends came with us, and they had to like get the F1 app and like walk through hotels and like around the track for half a mile. Like, this was good planning on my part.
Yeah,
for where I picked our hotel.
Which is the standard of living that I'm used to.
Yeah, I know. Passenger princess through life.
It's great. Yeah. So we just like walked out of the hotel. It was like a 3-minute walk, if that, to get into the race.
Mm-hmm.
And so let me contrast that with. So COTA is outside of Austin, so it's not in Austin proper. So they had like buses and stuff, which were nice, and they were free. They were part of the, like, you didn't have to pay extra
They were
for the
not
buckets.
free.
I thought they were part of the tickets.
I paid for tickets for the shuttles.
Oh, I didn't know that. All right, well, see, that's again an example. I didn't even know that they were. I've been telling a lot of people they were free.
Jesus
Anyway,
Christ.
So they had buses, which was fine. It wasn't a huge deal. You would walk up. It wasn't a huge line, but you had to
then don't have to drive in the traffic out there, which
Yeah.
is like the big perk.
You had to get to the bus, and the bus was like a 25-minute drive or whatever, and then
Without traffic.
Yeah, and then getting back was kind of a pain in the dick. So you had to walk pretty far to the bus like pickups, and you had to wait in line. Suzuka was
And
way
it's
worse.
hot as fuck because it's COTA. It's Austin.
Yeah,
That's the other thing.
Suzuka was way worse. I hated getting to and from Suzuka.
I loved getting to and
fucking
from
hate
Suzuka.
it. No, I'm going to explain why. And
I
you're going to be
know.
like, why is she even a fan of this? It was terrible. It was a terrible
I
thing.
know. We're so different.
So Suzuka, we stayed in Nagoya,
Mhm.
which was like the nearest major metro area.
Yeah, there are hotels in Suzuka, but all the teams get hotels in Suzuka. So like fans cannot stay there. So if
Yeah.
you ever plan to go to Japan, just know that you cannot stay in Suzuka. If you do, you're staying in a Love Hotel, which I will not stay in a Love Hotel.
And it's
So-
kind of Suzuka's like there is a town near Suzuka, but it's not like Austin, Texas. You know, it's not going to support all these people. So we from Nagoya, which was the closest metro, we had to get on a train. It was a 45 or 50-minute
45.
train ride
Mhm.
to Nagoya or to Suzuka, which wasn't bad on the way there. It wasn't bad. It was a pain because it's a 45-minute train ride, but it wasn't terrible.
You weren't going
stand
to
up for all
explain
of it.
how packed it is?
No, I will on the way back.
Oh, okay. Because it's, I mean, not as packed going there, but it is packed.
Yeah, I mean
going
standing
there.
room only on the way there,
It's,
but like
it's basically a subway train.
comfortable standing room only.
It's a subway
okay?
train.
You get there, and then it was a pretty decent hike, probably like a
20
20
minute,
minute
yeah.
walk to the track. Okay,
Weather's beautiful though. It's cherry blossom season.
they do it. It does coincide perfectly with cherry blossom season, which
You
that
just
was really gorgeous.
Follow the crowd. You don't have to like figure out street signs in Japan. Like, you just follow the crowd of people.
The way back after the racetrack lets out was hell on earth. Okay, You wait in line for like, I think race day was probably 2 hours. I mean, it was Sunday leaving was probably 2 hours of just waiting in line.
I would say it was probably 2 hours us leaving the track and getting on a
So
train.
we got lost, and we got in a marital spat.
Yeah, we did. On our honeymoon.
It's gonna happen, you know. And then so it was like a 2 hour just pure standing in line to get on the train, and then the train is as packed of any situation you've ever been in. I mean, like people are touching you in every direction, and the Japanese are not large, and I am large, and so I was getting a lot of dirty looks for taking up too much room. And then at one point, risky territory here. The Japanese are horrendously racist. So the Japanese are the light-skinned Asians, and they're on top. They think they're the best, and they look down on everybody below them. So below them is like Chinese, and then like Koreans are kind of in the same.
As someone with Asian heritage, I will agree that Asians are very racist.
Yeah. So but there's like the white Asians, and there's like the middle
Fair skin.
like tannish Asians, and then there's like the darker like Filipino kind of like dark brown Asian, and the top Asians fucking hate the Filipino dark brown Asians. And so we were on this packed ass train, and at a certain point some of
I'm Japanese and Filipino.
Yeah.
Is my Asian heritage.
And so I'm talking shit on all of them. And at a certain point, some of the, I don't know exactly where they're from, but you could tell they were like different Japanese. I mean, they weren't Japanese, they were from a different, and like it was obvious to everyone on that train that all the Japanese people hated these like three
I do remember
Filipino
what you're
or
talking
whatever,
about
Malaysians,
now, yeah.
whatever they were. I don't remember what they were, but they weren't
They
Japanese.
honestly probably could have been Japanese, because in Japan, there's obviously Japan is an island territory. And as you get further south, like to Okinawa, it is a darker skin. Okinawans have very distinct features from like northern Japan.
Yeah, it was crazy to watch, because like America's talk about racism a lot, and like there is racism in America, but like that was like everybody on the train was like, ugh, as soon as these people got on.
You're talking very loud into your mic. We also genuinely, like generally in America, have like a good melting pot of cultures, so it's not like unusual to see someone that looks different from you is another thing. Like you have to, those are homogeneous.
Japan is
yeah.
You took my word.
It's a homogeneous
I think I
country.
taught you that word on the trip. You know, who the fuck does that mean? They're not gay, and I had to explain what it was.
Okay, sure.
Anyway, I don't remember how I got started on the story, but at one point, some other people got on.
You're talking about how going back,
Yeah. So it was packed. I mean, packed. Not an inch of wiggle room. Like you can't move, you can't stretch, you can't. Packed.
They have people pushers, so you get on the train and you're like, oh, I'm the last one on. Like, hell yeah. No. 50 more people are getting on behind you and you don't even know it.
Yeah, and it's not like America, where like America has a pretty good like personal space.
Like, I'm not going to touch people.
Yeah, no, it was, I mean, they were literally people that were like shoving us, packing the train as full as humanly possible. And then you're on that ride for a full hour.
So I'm 5'4". I'm honestly probably average Japanese height. Like, I didn't feel tall. I felt very, in line with everyone else there. There's so many people on this train. I couldn't stick my hand up to reach any of the handholds, but it didn't even matter because there's so many people holding you in place that you just like rock back and forth with everyone else.
Yeah. And then I'm not 5'4", so I'm 6 foot tall and 250 pounds. And so I was taking up a lot of room. And at one point, some people got on the train that smelled real bad, and all the Japanese people thought it was me. And they were like evil eyeing me and talking shit in Japanese. And it wasn't me, I swear. And then I remember I think it was the race day. It may have been qualifying day, but we had to like our train ran out of room of track or whatever.
Yeah.
So we had to
the train situation was kind of confusing.
Everybody had to
Japan.
get off and wait for a new train to it was on the same track. Like our train just left, but we had to get off for whatever reason. It was all in Japanese.
Yeah. You just follow the crowd of people.
And then we had to get back on another train and then continue our journey. And then like once you get to Nagoya, it was still a decent walk to what?
You're talking so loud and it's picking up on my mic.
It's going to do that either way. We're just going to have to get better mics next year.
Or you're just going to have to talk quieter.
No, because then it runs the risk of not picking me up. So anyway, I'm going to skip all that. And so Japan, like being in Japan was amazing. Suzuka itself, the track was amazing. Like it was a really cool track.
It was a good race fan track.
Yeah.
Like Coda was very festival experience. Suzuka was like, here's a racing museum, here are memorials to people that have died. Like, it was truly for like the people at the track at Suzuka knew F1.
And the food was
People
great.
at Coda did not know F1.
Yeah, people at Coda were like, I remember F1 Academy was going, and people next to me were like, "Is that Max Verstappen?" And I was like, "No, that's a bunch of like girls in F4
They're like
cars."
15, yeah.
Yeah, and they were like, "What?" And I was like, "I don't even, just go home." Anyway, and then Japan was amazing. Food was great because it was like $5.
Cheap. Yeah, we spent $900 on food in Austin for the weekend, and we spent $45 on food in Japan for the weekend.
And it was great. It was
and
like
we
fresh
ate
bento
a
boxes.
Fuck ton of
Yeah,
food in
it was
Japan.
really good, like quality ingredients. So
I want
Vegas,
to go back to Japan so bad.
Vegas was, I think, the best of all the worlds. Like it was, you walked right into it. Once you got there, there was a ton of stuff that you could do. There was a ton of like, and they were all free. So at Austin, you had to pay for everything. There was nothing that was free to do. In Vegas, like there was this tower that we could go in and look down on the track, and it was like way up tall. At Austin, that's literally a $200 ticket to go in the tower. Like it's,
Oh, I thought it was free. You just had to wait in line.
no, Austin you have to pay for.
Oh. Well, and you also have to make a reservation in Austin, whereas like we did wait for that tower.
For 5 minutes,
yeah, exactly.
maybe. Yeah,
Like,
and we walked up, and it was very, especially because it was only the third year. It was very well organized.
it was extremely well organized. The staff was really happy
really,
to be there.
really friendly.
which
That's
is
what I think
cool.
surprised me the most.
Me too, because it's America. I mean, like we're very good on
Throwback to the movie
customer
theater.
service. We're good at customer service because a lot of people, are working for tips. But like at events like this, I don't ever have staff that's like happy to be there.
No.
People were so happy to work there.
Yeah, we would walk in, and I was wearing this hoodie, and like the lady taking our ticket was like, "Ooh, I want that hoodie," like joking with me and stuff. Like it was really fun. Everybody there was super happy, friendly. They had a ton of porta johns. They had free water everywhere. That
was, they didn't have that at Coda.
At Coda,
we
there
were
was
stealing water.
There was one water station for the entire 500,000 people that were there.
I think we talked about this on the podcast a few weeks ago because I mentioned how I stole ice from inside a cooler. Yeah.
It pissed me off.
And this is a night race. Like, it was cold in Vegas. The fact that they had free water is phenomenal.
Now,
they were offering me cold water or room temperature water because it was so cold. Like,
okay, yeah. So the weather. So the real quick, the food was not great.
No.
Food was not great. I think that's where Vegas struggled.
I didn't feel like it was as expensive as Austin.
It wasn't.
But I wonder if it's because we make more money now than we did when we went to Austin. So like it probably just didn't feel as expensive.
Austin still had, I mean, they had like tacos and barbecue. Like they still had good food in
yeah, but I remember spending $45 on 2 rattlesnake tacos, and that was the only option you had for taco too.
Yeah,
like
it wasn't
I couldn't
that bad.
get it was like
I don't
rattlesnake
think it was
sausage.
We also, whenever we travel, it's just we were very bougie. So the weather, it was cold, and we're from the Midwest, so we were like, these little babies in Vegas, like not a big deal. And it was fine until it started raining.
It wasn't winter jacket cold. Like we both were fine with like a hoodie and a long sleeve.
I wore this, and I was like a touch chilly, but the rain did suck. And I will say, it wasn't as bad as it looked on TV. Like for whatever reason, like,
it definitely was not coming down as hard as it was on
TV shots made it look torrential, and that's not at all what it was.
No.
It was a sprinkle the whole time. Like I would not say it was near as bad.
My hair wasn't soaked. Like it was. Yeah.
It didn't get through my cloth hoodie. Like I just had my hood up, and it didn't get through this material. Qualifying in the wet was super fun to watch. That was the highlight because the race was really lame. The downside, I think, to Vegas, and I think this is just a street circuit, like it's not Vegas's fault. You don't really see your field of view isn't much, like compared to, I think it's similar to Coda. Coda was a little better because we were at turn 19, so you got to see them round turn, come out
up to turn 1.
They came out of the triple right, round turn 19, and then you saw them go into 20, so it was a little bit nicer. Suzuka, we were sitting at the top of the Casio Triangle. We could see the whole track. That was really cool. We could see
70%
turn 1. Yeah. We could see the Suzuka S's. We could see coming out of 130R. Like it was a really cool. Vegas, though, it's a very, and again, I think that's just part of the street circuit like thing because you're so close. But it was a very narrow field of view.
It is street circuit. We had a monitor right in front of us, a TV, so like that helps. There's when we were in Japan, the commentary is in Japanese, so we didn't know what was happening.
And I don't think we had a TV either.
We did.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
I plan our vacations very well.
I know. I
So
never said you did.
we did have a TV in front of us in Japan. We just didn't know what the commentary was. We had a screen in front of us in Vegas. The commentary was fucking awful and on track. It was horrible
I forgot.
commentary. It was so horribly embarrassing.
I mean, I really genuinely believe I could have walked into the booth and done a better job. Like, I sincerely believe that. Because they were saying shit that just wasn't correct either.
Yeah.
Like, they were just saying stuff that wasn't right. They didn't know anything. For F1 Academy, it was even worse. They knew nothing about F1 Academy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we probably should explain. Whenever you go to a track, it's that track's local announcers for whatever reason. I assume it's like a training ground for announcers, so it lets them get experience or something. I don't know. But yeah, they like literally they would say that F1 Academy was qualifying while they were racing. Like it was race 1 and they were like, and here goes qualifying. It's like, dude, they're on a line. Like, what are you talking about?
Was horrible.
They just didn't know. Yeah. So that was, I mean, at a certain point it was entertaining because it was so bad.
Yeah.
It's kind of the gist of Vegas. I mean, the race itself was super lame.
Yeah, I think F1 Academy was probably the highlight of Vegas.
F1 Academy race 1 was very fun to watch. Oh, and we met 2 F1 Academy people. That was crazy. You saw an actor.
I saw Adam Devine.
And we were walking through and she goes, "Oh my God."
Yeah. So it's okay. So we went to go do our anniversary dinner at Carbone. And for one, we went to the Enchante pop-up because it was attached to the hotel where we were getting our dinner reservation. So we went there and I remember we were sitting and I was like, there's a line of people here. Do I need to wait in line to go in? Like, I don't really care enough to wait in line. And he was like, no, I mean, there's no one gatekeeping the door. Like, we'll just walk in, look around, whatever. We leave Enchante. And Kim Illman posts saying that Daniel Ricciardo just left, like as we were leaving. Like
it was like 5
minutes
and gone. After we left. Yeah. He got there, kind of.
So we missed Daniel Ricciardo. Whatever. I wouldn't have done anything even if we saw him.
I mean, it would have been like, hey, Daniel Ricciardo.
Yeah, exactly. So whatever. So and then we were walking to our hotel or to our dinner reservation, and we walked past Adam Devine. How do I say his name?
This is your celebrity now.
So anyway, it's probably so he is as far to him as I am. I'm on the other side of. I'm explaining this so bad. So I'm walking.
We're walking next to each other.
Taylor's
She's on
my
right, and on my left, Adam Devine.
Yeah, like very, very close. And
I didn't notice.
He didn't notice. And I make eye contact with him, and I went, "Oh my God!" Like in his face. Oh my God! And we keep walking. I don't stop him. I don't go, "Oh my God!" I know, because I'm also horrible with names of the actors and everything. I'm horrible at this stuff. Like, I have no idea what his fucking name is. And so we walk, and he goes, and I was like, "Oh my God, you didn't even see him." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "That's the guy from Pitch Perfect."
Not what I would have. I mean, he's in a lot. He is in Pitch Perfect. Not what I would have gone with.
Yeah, so I was like, that's the guy from Pitch Perfect. So anyway, we saw him. That was cool.
We were walking through our hotel and we saw Ella Lloyd eating dinner, and it was crazy because she first of all, I knew the F1 Academy girls were young, but then you see them in person and you're like, oh, that's a child.
Yeah.
Like, that's a kid.
We did not say hi to her or anything. She's eating dinner.
She was eating dinner with her mom or somebody. I don't know.
Yeah, before the race.
That's the funny thing is, so we saw 2 and both of them were with their parents. Which, I mean, I get it because the parents are probably funding this whole experience. But yes, we saw Ella Lloyd just like eating dinner, and I made eye contact with her, but I didn't stop or anything. And I remember we walked past, and I was like, "Oh, there's Ella Lloyd." And then we were leaving Vegas. I was sicker than shit, and we were in line. I noticed.
You have to tell this entire story.
I'm going to.
Okay, good.
And I noticed someone, a girl, is in front of us, and she's got the purple F1 Academy Pirelli hat that they get when they're on the podium, which is I've always really liked that hat. I know you can't buy it anywhere because I've tried to buy it. I know you can't buy it. And I was like, wait a minute. I look at her, and she, to be fair, she was like 10 people in line in front of us.
No, she wasn't, because we get through security, and her dad was right next to us.
Well, I chased him down. And then she had a backpack on that had the Ferrari logo on it. And I was like, I think that's Maya Woog. And to be fair, she didn't look like Maya Woog.
To be fair, for all he says, like, I support women, he doesn't know their names.
I know a few of them.
He knows a few of them. And I went, that's not Maya Woog. And he said, I'm pretty sure that's Maya Woog. And I was like,
I was like, it has to be because it's got and it was because the podium had to say like first, second, or third on it. So whatever position it was matched up with whatever Maya Wood like finished in one of the two races because it
Yeah.
was two races, and then it had the Ferrari thing. So I was like, it's got to be Maya Wood. It has to be. I mean, she doesn't look like what I thought she would look like, but it's got to be Maya Wood. And wife pulls up the finishing order of both races, and she goes, I think it's Aurelia Nobles.
Well,
And
because I said that, I was like, I'm pretty sure, and he was like, Aurelia Nobles isn't with the
in
wasn't
with
with
Ferrari.
Ferrari, and I was like, I thought she was.
I didn't think she was.
Yeah, I thought she was.
And then wife looked it up, and she was.
And she finished.
and she finished in whatever that position was. So we get through security, and I'm like, I'm gonna talk to her. Like, I'm gonna say hi. And wife's like, what? No, I'm not gonna say hi.
Yeah, I'm like, you're gonna say hi to a 16-year-old girl? Okay, weirdo.
All right. Well, now that you say it, the rest of the story is gonna sound really weird. But so we're getting through security, and I'm like, I'm like trying to make this happen.
They're like right next to us, by the way. Like they're waiting for her dad's waiting for their luggage.
So
like,
she has the Bell helmet. Like she's got her helmet in her hand, right? And so she just the way that security worked out, like she had gone off, and I was waiting next to her dad, and so I was like, I gotta find. So we had to walk from there to like a train to get to our terminal, and so I was hauling ass. I was trying to get to her, and we get to like where before you get on the train, you wait by the doors, and I go, this is my chance. So I walk up, sicker than shit. I probably got her sick, honestly. And I go, excuse me, are you Aurelia Nobles? And she goes, very, very like demure, very timid. She's like, and I go, hey, it was super fun to.
You were probably wearing the exact same outfit you're wearing right now.
I think I had a leather coat on above that. So yeah, this
ass man is
6 foot tall,
to me.
and I definitely came in like, I'm very animated. And I go, you're in Aurelia Nobles? And she goes, and I was like, it was really fun to watch you this weekend. You did a great job. And then wife says something kind of in that vein.
Congrats. Good job.
And so I go,
whatever.
do you mind if we get a picture? And she goes, sure. And so we take the photo, and in the photo, I'm like, and she's just very, and then they left, and that was the whole story. But we met Aurelia Nobles.
Yep, we did.
So time-wise, we're running a little longer than we meant to. So let's cover Abu Dhabi. Well,
okay.
I guess Qatar, not much to say in Qatar, other than how McLaren fucked themselves.
Yeah. So also we have this so the friend that we went with, she's been to 2 races, and she has this really hilarious track record of Max always
She
wins.
goes every 2 years. So she went with us to Coda in 2023 and then to Vegas in 2025.
Max won both races, and there was a double DSQ for her team.
Which
so
was
in Coda's
Lewis
Ferrari.
and No, Coda was one of them. Coda Lewis was one of them.
Lewis and someone else, but it was double DSQ. Max
for
won.
Plankware.
For Plankware, and then this was obviously
Max
McLaren.
won, and then both McLarens got double disqualified. So yeah, that made I wanted Lando to win the championship. She wanted Oscar, right? I think both of us were kind of fine if Max got it because like he earned it.
It would have,
But I wanted Lando. She wanted Oscar, and so yeah, they got disqualified. Qatar, they got fucked out of points, and Lando finished. He would have finished 5th if Kimi didn't have an oopsie daisy. Finished 4th, I think. Because that was the 2 points that made the difference.
Yeah.
And then Abu Dhabi was it was an above average race for the season, I think.
I honestly think Abu Dhabi was only above average because of a few things. I would say because Lando went for 3 pit stops, that was kind of wild given where his positioning was.
Lando didn't go for 3 pit stops.
Yeah, he did.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. Him and Charles did 3 pit stops.
No, they did a 2-stop.
I don't want to
They didn't do 3 pit stops.
I'm pretty sure because they mentioned 3 pit stops, and I was like, McLaren's gonna fuck him out of his race.
They didn't do 3. But while you're pulling that up, they didn't do 3 pit stops. But it was exciting because it's the championship race. 3 are in it. It's been a while since the driver championship came down to the last race. It's been since I think 2010 that it came down to more than 3 or more. But yeah, you saw Lando like make his way back through the pack. You saw Yuki completely fail at defending. Say what you want about Checo, but Lando wouldn't have got past that lap if it was Checo.
I actually don't know how to tell this. I pulled it up on the F1 app and I'm very confused. Regardless, I thought the pit stop strategy was kind of
crazy. Let us know in the comments who's right, but it's me.
I thought the tire strategy for Orlando was kind of crazy. And then I think the only other thing that was exciting was Yuki trying to do something on Lando. I thought it was really underwhelming.
He was like, I've got this. I do agree. The championship as a whole was like it still
It was
doesn't feel
underwhelming
right now. It doesn't feel like Lando's the champion. You know, like it's not exciting. Like he is.
because Lando didn't deserve it.
I think I wanted Lando to win, and I think an argument can be made that Lando didn't deserve it.
Yeah. So I
I'm
think
not upset about that.
whether this happens or not, I think that I want to go through and watch all of the 25 season again and calculate the points if papaya rules didn't exist. If McLaren didn't make a call to swap the drivers or, pit someone, I think I would let Max keep his points as is because obviously no one interfered with Max. Like McLaren didn't interfere with Max's points, but I would want to calculate and see what truly should have happened if McLaren didn't favor Lando.
Well, I mean, whenever
Just for
there's
my own curiosity, because I'm a principled person, I want to know if Lando deserved it on his own merit, then great, and I would be okay, great. I don't feel like Lando deserved it. I felt like Abu Dhabi was really underwhelming. It didn't feel like, oh yeah, Lando really put in the effort to get that win. Like it was just like he wasn't trying for anything further than third or fourth or whatever the bare minimum he needed was. Yeah, he wasn't trying for more. Like I don't feel like he drove like a champion.
Well, three things. First of all, every close title fight has like where people go back and they go, oh well, if this didn't happen, then so, and if that didn't happen, right? So like Max ran into George Russell and got a 10-second penalty, and that dropped him a bunch of points in that race. Like there's a bunch of shit like that. So papaya rules is I think a worthy discussion, but there's always like, well, if this didn't happen in that race, and if that did happen, that's just part of the title fight.
Yeah, but like I wouldn't go, oh, well, if Lando didn't crash into Oscar in Montreal, or if, like I would keep all those things. It's when the team like intentionally interferes that's a problem.
Part two is that I do think, and you just haven't really seen this yet, but teams do pick a number one driver, even though McLaren always says that they have two number one drivers. They have picked Lando as their number one driver.
I have no problem with the team having a number one driver. I think it was really dumb when Ferrari also said they didn't have a number one between Charles and Carlos because it was clear they had a number one. I think it's really dumb that McLaren also says we don't have a number one because it's clear you have a number one. And I think a lot of fans would respect that if you just admitted that you were
we're just trying to get Lando the championship.
Yeah, like, you know what, fine. Lando's been with the team for so many years. I don't care if you want to get him a championship. If he's been loyal to the team and, for whatever reason, if he's your number one driver, get him the fucking championship. But it's when you go, we don't pick favorites, and then you pick a fucking favorite.
Yeah.
Like, that's dumb.
And then thing number 3. Oh, that's not working for some reason.
Well, you get no TikTok content out of this.
Now try it. There we go. Our clip button didn't work there. Number 3, I did appreciate that at the end, in the final race when it mattered, the 3 championship contenders all qualified in the top 3 and all finished on the podium. Like those were the 3 drivers that deserved to be there.
That did feel like a good ending to the season.
Yeah, and then beyond that, Zach Brown
ruined Lando's championship
and Oscar's finish.
And, yeah.
Because he was like, first of all, is this the world champion hotline?
Yeah.
Fucking disgusting.
Okay.
And I'm a Zach Brown defender. A lot of people don't like him. I've always liked him, but that was crazy.
Do you still like him after this season?
I like him a lot less.
Okay.
I like him a lot less. I think I'm going to like him more in WEC, though, because he's becoming more of a person in that realm. And in IMSA, because sports does both.
I don't care about you defending, you sucking off Zach Brown. I don't give a shit.
And then he also ruined Oscar's because he came on and Oscar just lost the championship.
Rightfully upset.
And I mean, he's not he's not saying he's upset, but I mean, he just lost a championship.
Yeah, you can be disappointed.
And he was like, "What a season! What a no, super tone deaf."
Yeah.
And then what dirt does Mohammed bin Suleiman have on Lando where he keeps getting to pull his fucking hair? Because that happened twice. It happened once in the cool down room. Have you seen this clip?
Lando's such a bottom.
Have you? We have never publicly said our theory on Lando, by the way.
Oh.
And it sounds like we're not going to start now. So first of all, did you see the clip of him yanking Lando's hair in the cool down room? And then at the awards gala, he what is going on there?
I don't know. I don't think it's dirt. I think he just doesn't have personal boundaries.
He needs some oil money or something. I don't know. I was going to say something else, but I forgot it. But yeah, I think
I was expecting you to be like, and I thought it was really good that Oscar and Max were happy for Lando and congratulated him. I was, because you
No,
mentioned
I
that
mean
when we
it
watched,
was
and
it was cool. I always prefer to see like sportsman-like behavior, and that is what it
Oscar and
is.
Max are very
Yeah,
sportsmanlike.
I always like to see that. Well, Max is now. I don't think Max was a
I
few years
mean,
ago.
Max wouldn't have been with Lewis,
Yeah,
right, when he was fighting for his first,
Max has
but
matured a lot.
I think we can agree that if the roles were reversed, Lando probably would not have congratulated Oscar. He would have
Um,
been pretty upset.
Now real quick, because like I said, we're up on the time we wanted to be. I think some things to be excited. What are you excited for next season?
I'm excited for an 11th team. Um, I am not
First
as
time since
excited.
2016.
I'm not as excited about the new regs because I don't really understand them from a technical aspect because my tiny woman brain just like can't comprehend
I was just
cars.
about to say I've explained it a few times, like at in
So
depth a
like
few
I don't
times.
really like the technical regs don't really get to me, but the 11th team I think will be really interesting.
Whatever. Have you seen that they're already So there's already talk of cheating for next year because Mercedes and Red Bull have found a loophole in the regs that allow them to get 15 more horsepower than everybody else, and the other teams are already saying like, you can't make a statement on it. FIA ruling, they're already saying to like take that away from them.
I don't know if it's true, but I saw on one of those like F1 news channels, which there's a bunch, and they post the things that are like not true all the
Some
time.
are better than others.
Yeah, but I saw one where they were saying that the FIA was actually re-reviewing the penalty between Lando and Yuki in Abu Dhabi.
I don't think that's true.
Yeah, well,
I
that's what
haven't
I
seen
saw.
anything on from a. Did you say it this morning?
I saw it like yesterday, maybe the day before.
So
That's fine.
that would be such horseshit. Like, I not even as a Lando fan, but just to be 2 weeks after the championship
Yeah, and then
finished
have it taken away.
and be like, oops. I mean, they've already given the trophy over. Like they've
Yeah.
already had the award ceremony and everything. Yeah,
I
you
would
can't.
also agree that that was horseshit, but I didn't agree with the penalty in general. I thought that they should have given. I thought Lando overtook off track and he should not have, but
I don't really
whatever.
care. What else is
Man,
exciting for next season?
I am such a Checo hater, obviously. I'm sure you guys know that. Checo then posted on Twitter afterwards a Thanos meme saying, like, perhaps we were too hard
Yeah,
on him or whatever.
yeah.
And he said, perhaps Checo would have punted Lando off
Ain't
track.
no way. I mean, he would have. It would have been at least a couple laps. Like, there's no. Have you seen? I mean, we've watched
I
Abu
did.
Dhabi
I
2021.
watched, yeah.
You've seen the clips of his
I
defense
have.
against
I've gone
Lewis.
back and watched
Yeah,
them.
and then Yuki, poor Yuki, which I like Yuki, but he was like, "No, I know what to do. I
Yeah.
got this," and he put on his headband or whatever, and then just didn't do anything.
Yeah. Destroy your fucking car.
Yeah,
You don't have a
just didn't-
seat next
just
year.
did
Fuck it.
dick all
What are they going to do? Oh, did you see that Valtteri has to start Australia with a
with
penalty?
a penalty.
That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
yeah, he does. Yeah. So quick recap of what's exciting for next year. So new aero regs, no more DRS, but they will have 2 different aero modes. So
They're
one
not
team
calling
can
it
do
mom
better.
anymore.
It's not called mom anymore because
But
that confused people for whatever
no,
reason.
because it was funny.
Are we going to
And
push
the
to pass?
FIA hates humor.
Are we going? Is it called push to pass now, or do they announce what the new
I
title
think it's
is?
called override mode,
Okay.
overtake mode.
I played. This is not at all related. I did a sim race. Don't make fun of me. You always make fun of me when I bring up sim racing. I did a sim race in a car that has a push to pass system like that, and it's difficult to keep track of like how much push to pass you've used and how much you have left and all that.
What does he say? What does Ricky Bobby say? And he's like, something engaged.
Slingshot
Yeah.
engaged.
Yeah.
I might watch that movie today.
What a good movie.
That'd be a good Saturday afternoon that we could watch. Anyway, so yeah, new aero regs. So we don't know who's gonna get that right. I think it'll be Adrian Newey personally, but new engine regs. We don't know who's gonna get that right. I think that'll be Mercedes personally. Ford is coming into the sport. Audi is coming into the sport. So Ford will be powertrains for Red Bull. Honda is coming in as Aston Martin, but Honda was kind of already there. Honda's weird because like the Red Bull powertrain is just Honda, really, and it has been for years. They just haven't called it that. Audi is making their own engine as well. Audi's coming into the sport. Audi, I mean, they won't dominate or be very successful early on, but Audi is like a really big powerhouse in motorsport. I mean, they made one of the most dominant cars that's ever been in motorsport with the Audi of the LMP1 days back before it was called WEC. In like the 2010s.
What's the TLDR for this?
For what?
Your entire story.
For Audi or
I
for
keep
just in
zoning
general?
out just in general for
Yeah, I'm
all of
almost done.
this.
Fuck ass. I don't think there's any rookies coming in next year. Right?
No,
We don't really have any new.
we have no
no new
rookies.
drivers or anything like that. Which, to be fair, we had a bunch this year. So
I
like,
think
I'm
that
not.
is a disappointment, I will say. I don't really like Cadillac's lineup. We've talked about that before, but I think with an 11 team, I'm kind of upset that it's 2 drivers we already know.
It's very logical.
It is. It's very smart. From a business perspective, I would do it too.
I'm
I would
also
pick 2 solid drivers.
Yeah.
I get it.
You really can't get more experience than those two, though.
Yeah.
They've both been racing for 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's about all the exciting stuff next year. Cadillac obviously is going to be the big. Everybody on my Twitch streams keeps saying that they're going to be like 5th or 6th, and I think they'll be damned happy to be 10th.
So should we talk about who you think will get it right next year?
Sure, let's do a quick prediction. I'm
Okay.
going to go I'm going to say I really want to get crazy and say Aston Martin constructor champion.
That's crazy with
I know.
Adrian Newey.
Adrian Newey's What do you
Yeah,
mean?
but I'm saying, why do you think that that's crazy
'Cause
when
it's
they've got
Adrian Newey.
Adrian Newey?
Oh, you're saying that's not crazy.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
saying that that's very possible.
I just don't think a year is
possible.
fast enough to turn around because you got to think there's like 1,000 people that work there.
When did he move over though? 2024 or mid?
He started? He had to do gardening leave, so he couldn't start until 2025.
Okay, so he's had a year. Whole year.
Yeah, I just don't think it's not just one guy that can like. It's a whole department of people.
You know what? I will agree that it might be a little crazy because their drivers are Fernando and Lance.
Fernando's got it. I think if you put Fernando, I think still today, if you put Fernando in a championship car,
I will
think
say Lance sometimes really shows the fuck up.
It's not often.
Yeah, but sometimes like I think when
every
we were
once
at
in a while.
Vegas, he was putting like pole laps.
He
and you
was,
were like,
yeah, he was
"What
qualifying
the
in the
fuck
wet.
Is Lance
And
doing?
yeah, you're like, what? And then I think if George gets a halfway decent car, I think we can see a George championship in 2026.
I really like George.
I think it's time. I think he's very consistent. He is
I've
pretty
been
under the radar.
Saying this, I've been saying
He's
this,
just a
and you were
princess.
such a George hater.
I don't like him
like
personally.
because everyone goes Osama bin Russell or whatever it is, like
which he hadn't done that in a long time.
But that's what I've been saying. Like George is a very solid driver.
Yeah.
I think George has got it.
What's your constructor and driver championship?
Oh God,
prediction?
constructor. I'm gonna say constructor. I'm gonna go Williams.
I thought you were gonna say Williams.
Because so when we were talking about the regs, I thought Haas might do really well, but I think I'm gonna go Williams. Because I didn't realize that they have pretty much just only been focusing on 2026 since 23. With Carlos having 2 podiums, I know Carlos is a strong driver. I think Alex has also proven he's a really strong driver. He scored the most points for Williams in years. So I think Williams.
Well, Alex beat him.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying Carlos had 2 podiums. So I'm thinking in general, I think Williams could be constructors, or at least second or third. Like, I think they would really get competitive. As far as who I think will be world champion, I'm going to go Max.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a chance.
I think Max will come back. I don't really foresee Max driving past 2027, given GP is leaving and like...
GP's not leaving anymore.
GP is going to remain his engineer, but GP's going to, I think I don't know how.
That was a real quick, because one of the bigger news accounts posted that he was leaving and then pretty quickly announced that he was staying.
I just think with all of the changes at Red Bull, I don't really see Max sticking around. And
I think he's just ready for other stuff.
Yeah, he's got a family. Like, I think Max is pretty happy. I think he would come back to get another one just because he, is Max Verstappen. But I'm going to say Max 2026 world champion. And then I'm going to say Williams for constructors.
Yeah, he's already said, though, that, like, if 2026 regs aren't fun to him, he's out. Like, he's already said that. He's already committed to that. So, like, I think he wants to go do other challenges. He wants to do the Nürburgring 24. He wants to do WEC racing. Like, he wants to go do other shit.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that is the conclusion of this segment
1
of the podcast. We'll be back in just a minute with our world champion interview, which is crazy to say, but it's a real world champion of a real series that really exists. So we'll see you guys in a minute.
We'll see how either of us fucks this up.
Well, hello, welcome, world champion Maxwell Dodds. How are you? Thanks for joining.
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Good. That's awesome. So just for folks that don't know, you finished this year as world champion with your teammate for the Ligier European Series, which from my understanding is like the 4th tier of the WEC ladder, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And so obviously wife is here. as well. But yeah, thank you for taking time to talk to us. I wanted to ask you a few questions, but starting off, I know I haven't heard the story, but I know you have a pretty interesting story about racing, and you had to take some kind of time away and switch fields from Formula to sports car. Would you mind just kind of sharing the gist of how you got here?
No, no, of course not. So I started karting when I was about 4 or 5 years old, so quite early to sort of get into it. But I think a lot of drivers nowadays, that's kind of how it goes, where they get into it basically as early as they physically can. Um, I did the British Championships um, for until I was about 13 or 14, then move over to Europe, did all the FIA World European Karting, WSK, sort of all where the main single seaters series basically, where people sort of progress from there. Um, and then from that, I moved into Jeunesse Juniors, which is like sort of the ground level sports car championship for people in the UK basically. So for example, Lando did it. Um, and it's sort of like an entry level car championship. And then after that, obviously COVID came round, and I fell really ill. I'm quite asthmatic, and I don't have a great immune system as it is. So I basically got long COVID, and I was sort of in and out of hospital for about 2.5 years.
Jesus.
Um, it kind of came at like a weird time because we're already struggling financially with racing. So I already didn't finish the Jeunesse Junior series, just because we couldn't afford to do it. And then after that, it was a bit of a double whammy because yeah, then I fell really ill, and I was missing lots of school. Like basically we call it GCSEs here, which is like our last like mandatory schooling here that you have to do at 16. Obviously it's big exams, and I wasn't in school for any of that last year basically, and did my exams from home. So I had a really difficult sort of two year period with that. Had a lot of other things going on as well, so that was tough. And then we managed. I was sort of recovering slowly, and then basically around my birthday time, so March of 2024, my dad said like, how you feeling with things, all this type of stuff. We've got some funding. Do you want to get back into racing? Obviously, I was like biting his hand off to get back in a car, of course. Um, and then did F4, which was difficult because I think the way single seaters is now, there's such an emphasis on testing and doing as many laps as you physically can, because obviously practice makes perfect with that. And we couldn't do that because the season started in April, and first sat in a car for like the first time in 2.5 years on I think it was the 15th of March. So I did about 6 days testing. Bear in mind the average person is doing like 20, and I was just playing catch up throughout the whole season. And we had some good weekends, but I think we realized with my age, I was sort of 18 when I was doing that. A lot of people doing F4 were sort of 15, 16. We just kind of looked at it and thought, you know what, we need to sidestep into something that's going to give me an opportunity for a career. So that's when we moved into sports cars, and that's kind of where we are now. So and
Okay.
it's gone good so far.
No, that's awesome. And was it so you said F4, was it like F4 Europe or was it GB4 or was it some other?
So I did British F4.
Okay.
So it's the same. So you've got British F4, like Italian F4. It used to be German, Spanish F4, and then GB4 is kind of like it's a sort of a cheaper version of British F4, basically.
Okay, so British F4 is kind of higher up than GB4.
Yes,
I
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
know that. Okay. And the reason that I asked that is I've been trying to kind of figure out the whole ladder for that because you watch F1 Academy on like F1 TV and stuff, and I've always confused on where they go from there. And it seems like they went to GB4, now they're going to GB3, but I didn't know that F4 or British F4 was kind of a higher tier than that.
Yeah,
What?
so when I did British F4, um, we had 9 F1 Academy drivers do a guest round at Zandvoort because we did a race. Even though it was British F4, we do a race in Zandvoort, and because they were prepping for their um season in obviously F1 Academy, and they wanted to do some racing at Zandvoort because no one had been there. They all came and did British F4 because it's sort of like the probably the best, apart from maybe Italian F4, is like the best entry level F4 series basically.
Okay. That's awesome. And then you did the Ligier European Series. And so
Yes.
that's how was the transition from Formula to sports car?
I think it wasn't as difficult as it would have been had I progressed a little bit further up the single seater ladder. Um, but the sports car is just kind of like a heavier F4 car, just not really as agile. That's basically the main difference. in terms of like handling wise. Obviously, you got a lot of difference with the length of the races and strategy wise, and obviously teammate swap, that sort of stuff. But from purely a driving perspective, there wasn't a huge thing to adjust to, apart from obviously having a roof and it's really bloody hot in the
Yeah,
car.
windshield and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
So, transitioning to the Ligier European Series seemed like a very responsible and like mature decision for you to make given, all the circumstances, especially for your age. I know you're quite a bit younger than us. I don't know how old you are, but do you feel like you want to go back to single seaters, or do you enjoy, like, did you find this love for, sports cars instead?
I think well, first of all, I'm 19, if that if that helps.
Okay.
Just to I think I kind of was falling out of love with racing a little bit in single seaters. To be honest with you. I think there's such a sort of volatile like experience there where there's such an emphasis on the amount of testing you do and all this type of like stuff that's going on, and you're basically sat there just thinking, I can't compete with the people that have this much money, and I can't do the amount of testing that needs to be done. And you feel in yourself that you're struggling as a driver when realistically you know that you could be competing given the same resources. And we just shifted because it's such a different culture in sports cars. I think there's not this emphasis on like who could do as many laps as possible, or you have to win everything, and obviously that's what everyone wants to do, but there's a lot more emphasis on you as a driver performing to your best, because people look at it a lot more holistically as you're driving, not just at your performance but other aspects, just who you are as a person as well, which um sort of resonated with me a little bit better than single seaters did.
It's funny that you mention the difference in kind of culture in sports car versus formula, because you said formula is like all about doing as many laps as you can, but sports car is the endurance series. So I
Yeah,
think that's funny that the emphasis
yeah,
is way more on
I
formula.
think it's like with the way it is that when I say that, it's more about in single seats about your pure pace, like your ability to just
Hmm.
extract every single bit out of the car, and you're pushing to the limit all the time. Obviously, in F1, it's slightly different because you've got managing tires and stuff. But before that, F4, F3, and obviously F2, you start to transition to that. But before that, it's about who can just extract the time out of the car, and you're not going to be able to do that without going to all the different circuits and doing as many laps as you can, throwing down as many new sets of tires, and just circulating. That's it. Just do as many laps as possible. Whereas in sports cars, a lot more emphasis on you'll do maybe one new tire run per weekend. The rest of it is you'll have terrible tires that have done 300 kilometers. You're on high fuel. You haven't driven the track yet. It's freezing cold in the morning, and everything is completely different. And you're adjusting to these different sort of metrics that are changing throughout the weekend. It's about your adaptability more than just your pure like let's pedal to the metal sort of thing.
Sure, that's awesome. Yeah, I had never would have thought of that. And I watched the whole Ligier European Series, and I watched the final race live. I was actually at work at my real job, and because it was, I think, like 8 a.m. for us, and so I had it on our TV in our office, and people were coming by and like, "What's this?" And I'm like, "No, I know this guy. He's in there. He's got a shot at winning the title." And it was pretty spectacular because you, from what I remember from that race, you were out of the title for a while because your contender was ahead of you and your teammate. So you split the car with a teammate, Eco Segre,
Yeah.
um, and then he had a kind of a pretty late stage mechanical failure, and you went through into first, and you got the title. So it was pretty. I think it was probably surprising to you as well to hear that. What was that like?
Yeah, I mean it was to be honest, it was a difficult middle part of the year to end part of the year because we started so strong. I mean, we we finished first and second in Barcelona, first and second in Paul Ricard, um, one at Le Mans, and then we came to Belgium with like a 45-point lead, thinking, we're just going to keep up this momentum. Then Eco had quite a severe crash in the first race. The car wasn't fixed for the second race, so I was driving with a damaged car, and I was taken out. Then at Silverstone, we hadn't driven there, or I had driven there, but Eco hadn't, so he was sort of playing catch up with just learning the track, and a lot of other people had tested. So then we went into Portimao behind in the championship, which we really didn't expect to be the case. Um, and then the first race of the weekend, I started third, got into lead, pulled like a 4-second gap, handed over the car to Eco, and then Roman got into the lead again, so he extended even further. And with the championship being 16 points gap going into the last race, realistically, we just had to hope for him to DNF. That was the only thing that we could hope for. And obviously, you don't pray for that sort of stuff, but obviously in your head you're
Hey,
thinking,
it's all right.
That's okay if
Yeah,
you
I,
are.
I,
Yeah, no,
I
that's
understand there's a sportsman PR answer, but
yeah,
yeah,
no,
it's
no, no.
okay.
Obviously, I kind of took that last race as an audition, for next year, because the way it works in the single seater paddock is that, in the sports car paddock, sorry, is that you have the main pit lane, which is taken up by the LMP2s, the LMP3s, and the LMGT3s for ELMS, and they get the garages. And then you've got the Ligier European Series and the Le Mans Cup, who, when your race starts, you go and share a garage. So you basically say to these like teams, you get allocated a team at the start of the year. So we got allocated IDEC, who are the LMP2 team, and we share their garage when it's our race. So we go in there. Obviously, you're kind of surrounded by all these mechanics and stuff, and they're obviously working on the P2 cars, and then we've got our team that builds their little station for the race. Or you'll share all their data. You know how you've got the screens on the pit wall, like in F1. We go and use their stuff. So basically, as it was the last race of the championship, and it was just before the qualifying for ELMS, but before the qualifying for ELMS, you had all these P2, the P3 teams, the LMGT3s all watching, and you could walk along and you see they're all had the screens, and Eco started the race, and I saw all this going on. I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna go out and just go as quick as physically possible, switch over to that the single seater mindset, and just basically prove to people that even if I don't win the championship, that I think I've been the best driver on the grid this year. That was kind of like what I had to do. And I came out of the pits in third, and I thought, I'm going to win this race by as big of a distance as I could. And then obviously we won the race by 8 seconds, which was really good. Um, and I managed to overtake Roman and overtake the other Virage car. So on merit, in that race, I did enough to win. Obviously, I was just having to hope for other things to happen, and funny enough, the team didn't tell me, so I was just out
Oh,
there, and
okay.
I basically said, it probably isn't like the thing you should be doing, but I was basically like, don't speak to me, like I'm just have a job to do. I want to basically prove to people that, next year give me a seat,
Hmm.
like I should be in the best teams, sort of thing. So I went out there. I didn't turn off my radio, but I was basically like, just let me do my thing. Went out there to try and win the race, and that's what we did. But crossed the line, and they went. So good job, like good win, great way to end the season. Finished it there. So I was like, oh, I don't think I've ever been so disappointed to win a race in my life. Like I
Uh,
was really pushing, and then we sort of waited until I finished the first sector. I was just obviously deflated, and then they told me afterwards, and obviously it was like an amazing feeling because because I didn't expect it. You sort of go from being so low to like so much emotion in one moment is amazing.
they didn't hit you with the "Is this the world champion?" hotline.
I I I think I would have definitely turned off the microphone then if that was if that was what came up. But luckily they were French. They just started singing in French instead. So I still had no
Okay.
idea what was being said. To be
That's
fair.
awesome. That's awesome. And then, so correct if I'm wrong, but now, and I thought this was really cool learning about. So I didn't know anything about the Ligier European Series until I had met you through. We both make content and sim racing stuff, and so I had no idea about the series, but I got into it because you were into it, or you were in it, obviously. But they do something pretty cool. They provide a scholarship to the winning team for the next stage in your racing career, right? So is the goal
Yeah.
now to take that money and secure a seat in like Le Mans Cup, which I think is the third tier of the WEC ladder, or what's the goal next?
So this is the way that we're looking at it, and we've been speaking to teams. And obviously, as a driver, even if you don't have the budget, you want to plan multiple years in advance. You don't want to just plan for next year because it's very sort of you don't want to rush into things. So we've been doing a lot of planning over the winter, obviously, and the last like couple of months been really busy, and we've been speaking to a lot of LMP2 teams about what their thoughts on it because down the line, that's what I want to be doing, moving up to LMP2 and then hopefully WEC after that. So we've been speaking to them, and to be honest, they said that they want to see drivers perform. And I think in ELMS, LMP3, with 3 drivers, and obviously there's a lot going on, and you may not be the favored driver, you kind of get hidden away a little bit. Like you kind of don't get shown in the way that you want to be, or you may perform well, but that may not translate in the results. So I think for next year, we're looking at, do Le Mans Cup, and we've got some interesting sort of things that we're working on for that, and it looks like um, that will be what we're doing. And obviously, it's a massive incentive with the prize money from Ligier to continue with that. So it looks like that will be what the plan is. But that won't be the only thing that I'll be racing in next year, which is exciting.
Okay. Well, I'm super excited to hear about that whenever you are ready to announce it. I'll have to check out the Mons Cup calendar, see if I can convince wife to make a trip out to anywhere. We're going to Zandvoort for F1, but
Oh,
she's
nice,
yeah,
nice.
she's always down for another trip. So let me ask you this: you're sitting in your sim rig. I don't know if that is coming
Yes,
across on camera, but how much does
yes.
sim racing come into your racing career, or is it just like a hobby to relax?
So I think there's very varied levels of people with sim racing. You've got some drivers, for example, maybe like Alex Dunn in F2 or Taylor Barnard in Formula E, who basically live on the simulator and they use it as their almost Bible to to prepare for a weekend. Um, I am sort of probably middle to lower of that scale, where I use it a lot before a race weekend, just making sure I can test all the different variables that could come up in a race, um, and obviously qualifying and stuff like that. But to be honest, I can't lie, I don't love sim racing.
Sure.
I know some people really do, but
I don't love it either, so don't feel
I
like you're gonna hurt my
I get
feelings.
very frustrated with it. And I also I'm a driver that really goes off of feeling. Some drivers are really like good at like repetition of doing the same thing. Where I go really off of how the car's moving around me, and I like to adjust based on feeling. And obviously, in your sim, you don't get that, and I kind of struggle to translate that onto the sim, and then it kind of comes where I'm a hell of a lot better driver in real life than I am on the sim, which is like
That's a good problem to
sometimes
have.
I mean, I can't complain. Yeah, it's definitely a good thing, but it's like a lot of people manage to sort of translate their real life driving into sim really easily, whereas then I sort of take me a bit more time to get into it. So I use it a lot as prep, but I'm not a huge sim racer to be honest. And I think anybody that's done any racing on iRacing will realize that it's more frustrating, and I want to smash my monitors every time I drive. To be honest, so I feel like it's best to keep it on a low level of of driving.
Is that because you want to smash your monitors because of other people, or you're making mistakes and it pisses you off?
Both, definitely both.
Just the experience as a whole.
Yeah, just iRacing in general. It just
Okay,
brings that out of people, I think.
sure.
So
Yeah, I don't do any Go
if you
ahead,
don't
Will.
really sim race to like unwind, what do you do in your free time?
Um, so I do a lot of work for my dad. Uh, that's obviously that keeps me like really busy. I think a lot of drivers, and I'm not really afraid of sort of saying this. A lot of drivers don't have to work. A lot of drivers are very privileged, and I'm in a privileged position as well to do what I do. But a lot of drivers don't have to work for anything. Um, but I work 5 days a week, basically like 9 to 5, with my dad, and then free time. Um, I do a lot of football and paddle, as in like I guess soccer.
Just
No, yeah,
okay,
we got it.
okay.
Yeah.
Right, we're Americans. Okay.
um, but yeah, no, that I just play a lot of sport. I really enjoy sport, and also like climbing. I do a lot of climbing as well. Um, I just like to be out the house. To be
Okay.
honest, that's the main thing to just be active. I'm not a person that winds down by sort of sitting watching a movie or something. That doesn't keep my brain ticking too much. So
Oh man, I knew this already, but we are not very similar in in that regard. I love being in the house. It's my favorite thing. Well, that's
yeah,
awesome.
I mean, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, no, no, not that I would ever say that we're comparable because you're a world champion and I am fucking in my basement. But no, yeah, I like being at home, chilling. So, additional question, and I guess this is funny because you just were talking about being out of the house. How much does social media play into being a race car driver nowadays?
I think it should a lot more for me. I do not like social media one bit. I hate the premise of it in general, to be honest. But I need to be a lot better with it, because it does make a massive difference, especially with sponsors and just even for teams and stuff. Nowadays, teams want to. You need to be marketable to the teams. They're not just performing on track. You need to be impressing off track in the way that you can sell to the companies that they work with as well. And it's huge. And I think especially now, if you look at the way that Drive Survive has affected single seat drivers, when you look at some F3 drivers with 50, 60, 100,000 followers in Formula 3, it's insane, to sort of look at. And then when you have drivers who are in WEC, and you've got the best drivers in the world in WEC that have got maybe 150,000, it's like mad how much of a difference it's sort of made, where the young generation coming through now have got such a bigger platform for being viewed than what it used to be. So I think it's a huge thing. I just don't really like it, so I need to sort of change that.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I've been spending a lot more time away from the use of social media. I still post and everything for my own content and stuff, but I'm so much happier not using social media
Yeah,
less now.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Wife, you have your thinking face on. Do you have anything to ask?
I was just like, that's so interesting to think at 19 not really liking social media. Like, I don't, when I think of 19-year-old boys on social media, I think of like user, a bunch of numbers and they're just like trolling people online still.
No, I'm not gonna sit here and say that my screen time is like really good, because it's not. I probably probably be on it like too much, but I think for my own personal use, I'm not a huge fan, to be honest.
Sure.
Is that something you want to improve your social media presence, or you're just gonna try and, I mean, you seem, from what we're talking, I really like you in general. Like, you seem like a hard worker and you, I mean, I wouldn't say if I didn't
I
like you,
Thank you. I
really
but
like
appreciate
you.
that.
like, are
No,
you
I
gonna
mean, I
try
think
and,
it's
yeah.
something that I need to. I've been told by people that I need to sort of be more on it, and I think I will. Maybe a New Year's resolution that I need to stick to, and be on that a lot more. Uh, I'm just not a big content creator in general, to be honest. But I think that will have to change, especially as I go sort of higher up the ladder if I'm wanting to progress that sort of part of the game. So
Yeah, it seems like, racing is becoming so much more advanced and high level, and there's so many more parts to it now. Whereas, like, in the 80s or whatever, people would just show up and drive, and it was just whoever fucking drove fast were good. And then they started introducing fitness and nutrition, and now you've got, you need funding and sponsors, and then on top of that, yeah, now, like you said, like, you also need to manage social media. It seems like it's a much more there's just so much more to manage when you're a high level racing driver. Is that fair to say?
yeah, I mean, I think the actual driving is 10, 15% of being a driver in general.
Mhm.
Like, it's so minimal that my race weekend is probably like the least busy part of just what I'm doing in day to day life. Um, and that's probably the most. It's supposed to be the most hectic bit, and it doesn't end up being, because you've just got so much other things you've got to work on, and it's such a difficult sport in general, because I don't think there's anything that you can put in so much effort and have such a little guarantee of anything actually coming from it, which is, it's scary, of course, but I guess you use it as motivation to, like, I really need this to work out, sort of thing.
Sure, sure. So, a couple of fun questions now. Loosen us up a
Okay,
little
here we
bit.
go. Yeah.
Not as
We're
fun as
doing the
you're
fun
thinking
questions at
yet.
the end.
Not as fun as you're thinking based on your reaction. Wife might have some.
Oh
She
no.
usually she brings
Okay,
the
okay,
the real fun.
They're
So,
hugely
okay.
inappropriate. I don't think
hugely
I can ask.
inappropriate.
Yeah.
Mine, which is appropriate. Favorite track to drive in real life, and then you said you don't really like sim, but I already wrote this down. Do you have a favorite track to drive in the sim? Are they different or are they the same?
Okay. Favorite track to drive in real life
Mhm.
is, I'll do two,
Sure.
because my favorite track that I've ever driven is a track in Finland. and it's called Alahama. And you guys after this will have to look at it, because there's videos of it at YouTube, and it was where the World FIA World Championships was held, and it's like got a roller coaster over the track, and it's got like a bridge where you go like a loop and you go under the track. It's crazy, and they had an FIA event there, which was mad. And I absolutely love the track.
So it was
And then
Alaharma? Is that what you said?
Alahama,
I've never
yeah,
heard of this in my life. Okay, I'll have to check this out.
I there would be no reason for you to. There's no unless you were like an FIA karting driver in 2019, you would have no reason whatsoever to have heard of the track.
Sure.
Um, that's like how how sort of I guess underground it is for people knowing. Um, then I'd probably say I guess it could be boring because I haven't actually driven a load of car tracks, but probably Spa. I think
Okay.
it's just Spa as a track is just
Yeah. I
incredible.
mean, it's one of the greats.
Um, although Le Mans this year was pretty mad. I didn't expect to be racing at Le Mans so soon in my career, so
How
that
I
was
didn't get
just
to
nuts.
watch. I for whatever reason
It
it's
wasn't
got
streamed. It wasn't
yeah.
streamed.
I didn't get to watch that. It wasn't on their YouTube. But how was the Mulsanne in those Ligier? Because I don't think they have a super high top speed, right?
Top speed is about 270 kilometers an hour, so it's actually not far off the LMP3.
Okay.
Um, but the it was actually hilarious the race itself because you get about halfway down and you have to lift off the throttle because you hit the limiter so hard that if you actually go flat out, you bounce off it and you'll drop like 20 kilometers an hour. Like you'll hit it and the
Mhm.
car will physically stop. Um, and in the race itself, the guy that started ninth led um led the race because he literally just drove. Obviously, the slipstream is so ridiculous in the P4s that he just drove in a straight line and overtook everyone, and it was ridiculous, like insane to drive at, to be honest.
See, I wish I could see these clips, but yeah, they don't. Some it must be a
I
rights
haven't seen them
thing.
either. It is a rights thing. I haven't seen them either. I just have it in memory.
That's awesome. And then in the sim, I mean, I think that's probably the best part of sim racing is like you can drive all the tracks you want. So is there a favorite one you have in the sim?
Probably just Mount Panorama, just because it's like I don't know if I'll get to race there in my career, and obviously it's just an amazing track, isn't it? Like
That was the one that you drove with
to
us, funny enough.
yes, it was, it was. That was quite something, yeah. I think it was just me and Kai hacking around on our own, but,
Yep. Yeah. Mount
yeah.
Panorama is Bathurst in
I think if
Australia wave.
yeah,
Okay.
I think if we could have, I think if we could have got Kimmy on, if we could have convinced Kimmy to get on, then it would have been, would have made it slightly more interesting instead of just two of us, but
Yeah.
he's
No,
obviously he's
we
obviously
do
quite a busy
everything
guy
different
now.
now. We that was when I was kind of figuring out how to do all this stuff. So we do everything different now. So yeah, normally people don't get stuck in just two people in a class. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
so I was debating on bringing this up or not. But yeah, you're friends with Kimmy. Is there anything that he's kind of told you from his first season of F1 that surprised you, or is there anything that you've heard kind of through him that you didn't think of or didn't know of for the top level of motorsport?
Not particularly. I think it's just I think what he didn't have a grasp of was just the platform that he was now on because we all grew up in single seaters together. I mean, my best friends are F2, F3 drivers, Formula E drivers. Like my sort of childhood of growing up with drivers, there's probably 50 drivers that I know that are professional level now, and they weren't at that level. And then you see Kimmy, and he made it there, and he was sort of it's all fun and games with when you with everyone that you know, and then you go to this different level where you're racing against Hamilton, Verstappen, Alonso, and it's like you're on a different level. Then like even though it's serious beforehand, you like move into it. And it's like, oh, we're not messing around. Like this is like you're exposed to everything. Like if you perform badly, and obviously he had a tricky part in the middle of the year, didn't he? Especially from like Austria onwards, where he had like six races or so where it was like really difficult. I think he just the pressure was really piling on, and I think that was something that he didn't expect it to be like that level of pressure, of course. And I think he's done a really good job of sort of turning that around towards the end of the year.
Yeah, no, he was very fun to watch. And yeah, I can't even
It's hard
comprehend.
when you're so young. Yeah, you're just
Mhm.
jumping in with all of these world champions and all this experience. I can't even imagine.
And he had like reporters
Yeah,
at
I
his
mean
school and
it's
shit.
mad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
it's crazy. I mean, when we all grow up together, it sort of seems like all the it seems it's so fun, and you're in this world where like you're meeting people from all over the world, and you sort of grow up together, and it's obviously a really high level, but we are just like 17, 18, 19, 20, and you're all just still kids, like just loving driving cars basically. And then it's like goes from that to like, oh, now you've got millions, hundreds of millions of people watching, and it gets a lot more serious at that stage. So
Yeah, and people are shitty also, and everyone's always saying crazy stuff about you. And
I mean, look at that thing at like after was it Qatar where
Qatar,
everyone was
yeah.
like saying that he let him pass, like let Norris pass, like it's a load of absolute waffle, and people sending him death threats and stuff. It's just,
Yeah.
but I think they're just keyboard warriors, and they're not driving F1 cars, so I think he didn't take it to heart too much.
Yeah. Well, only 19 other people are driving F1 cars.
Exactly, exactly. So
Okay, last fun question. If you so I think most of the WEC and the high level sports cars, it's a team of three. So if you could share the car with any two people, living or dead, who would you pick?
oh, that's good question. I say the first one, just because I'd want to be winning, of course, probably Kevin Estra, just
Okay.
because it's like when it comes to sports and endurance, I don't think there's a better driver on the planet.
Yeah.
Um, and to learn off of him would be incredible. Just for his experience and his wealth of knowledge would be something that I could hopefully take. Um, and I wouldn't really have to perform too well. I think he'd do most of the job for me. Um, and then I'm a bit of an oldie with racing, so I'd probably say Jim Clark.
Okay.
Um, I think when you look at his like career and his ability to jump in between different forms of motorsport and win, I think I'd just love to again. I like to pick people's brains with things, and that would be something that would be pretty cool with those two. I think.
Sure. Awesome. Wife, you got anything you want to ask? It's the only
I
time to interview a
do.
world champion.
It's yeah, actually do have a question. I don't feel like it's necessarily a fun question, but we were just talking about Kimmy. So, and you said, you're friends with a lot of professional drivers. So, comparison is a thief of joy. I'm sure it's really easy to like look and see where your peers are and maybe like, you obviously had the unfortunate you were sick for a long time, so it set you back a little bit. Is there advice that you've maybe gotten, or like how do you manage to be optimistic and keep performing at this high level despite seeing how other people are doing?
It's funny that you said that because, like, without sounding like I'm lying, like that has been sort of a motto that I've sort of had that I've had for a while, where it's like comparison really is the thief of joy, and I think that 2 year period was the hardest period of my life by a mile. Like it really really was, and I think the difficulty with it was is that when I look at where I was just that year before, and I was doing the FIA World Championships, and I finished seventh, and I beat people like Nicolas Solov, who's in F2, and half the F2 grid were people that were behind me. I mean, there was only six other drivers on the planet that beat me. One of them being like Lindblad, who's obviously in F1. You've got Slater, who's like well, going to be in F1 realistically, and you've got barely any drivers on the planet were beating me, and then to just stop and then watch these drivers progress, win championships, move up these categories whilst you're sort of waiting around. It was a really difficult period, and um, I sort of had to switch from like a like self indulging in that sort of sadness to more of like using it as motivation for my own like career. When I said like, and that's only been something that I've managed to shift into this year. To be honest, I think that was a lot of my downfall in F4 last year, where I was like, God, it's so annoying because I'm looking at like for example, Kimmy and Ollie Behrman was someone that I was really good friends with when I was younger. Like watching them in F2 and being on the brink of F1, you're thinking like, God,
If
I'm in
only.
F4 and I'm doing a like a I was doing a bad job, and I was like, God, I used to compete with these guys, and like I used to be able to beat them at some point, and now I'm here. I was like getting into my head a lot, and then this year I think I turned it around and was like, you know what, I no matter how much I think about it, it's not going to change where they are. And it's also not going to propel me up the ladder any further by thinking, oh, I could have beat these guys or I did at some point. Like, doesn't it's not helping me. All I'm doing is just make myself feel worse. So I think I've just had to use it as like a they can be there. I'm not going to end up there because that's not the route I'm taking. I'm not going to be an F1, but I can know that I'm good enough to compete with those guys. So why can't I beat others in a different series if that makes sense?
No, absolutely. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's a really wise way to look at it, especially for someone who is, relatively speaking, as young as you.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this has been 3 4 years of figuring that out. Like it's not something that I've just managed to switch on. Like it's been really difficult because at that time when I was like 15 or 16, that definitely is a mindset that many people would be able to sort of adopt. So those sort of for early couple of years, it wasn't a great thing to go through. But I had a lot of help from people around me, so I think that obviously makes things a lot easier.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. I mean, this was really fun. I
Hold
really
on.
okay,
I
my
got
bad.
another one.
Oh, she's got another one. My bad.
I can't end on that note. Like, that's so serious. So, okay, so this F1 championship was pretty tight. Was there anyone that you were rooting for,
um,
specifically?
I was definitely um advocating for Oscar. I think
Oh, yep.
I love his like um approach to racing in general, where he's very like ice cold with things and very much like Raikkonen, which sort of brought in, even though I'm still like young, obviously brought out my sort of inner child because I sort of grew up with like, for example, like Raikkonen because that was sort of my era, the sort of first years of racing that I was sort of watching was like 2011, 2012, that sort of region when obviously you had people like that and Oscar sort of was like bringing that back. So I was definitely rooting for Oscar. Obviously it didn't work out in the end, but I think uh, I think Lando got the job done, obviously, and you can't really take that away from him. Over the course of the year, all three of them could have deserved to win it realistically. So
Yeah. Anything else, wife?
No, nothing else.
Well, awesome. No, this was super fun. Again, thank you for your time. Anything you want to plug or anything you want to leave us with or questions for us?
no, I don't think so. I mean, I think I'm gonna do my bit with sharing it round, and if people want to support me, they can. If not, then that's cool as well.
You're not really on social media, so no loss at that
exactly like
point.
if that's what I mean. It's like if people want to tag along for my journey, I welcome anyone to support. But if not, I just want to drive cars really quickly. So that's about it.
Awesome. Well, no, this was super fun. Again, thank you so much for your time. I think this was really fun to see kind of into the mind of someone that is at a high level of sport, which we were obviously not, and so it's very different. But yeah, thank you so much. I'll make sure I let you know when this is going to go up and everything. And yeah, hope you keep in touch and best of luck in the next year.
No, thank you very much. Thank you.